reality. But it's also the history of ordinary people. The ways in which ordinary people, not kings and queens and exceptional, leaders, but the opinions, thoughts, and actions of ordinary people, in my view, are actually what direct history. But then the history is written, rewritten. I mean, the ending of slavery is the best example, right? The way or the most clearest example to me, the way that's rewritten as being the product of a few elite guys in Westminster and Abraham Lincoln, and that's what happened.
Right.
We don't want to talk about the Maroons in Jamaica, in their 80-year military engagement with the British. We don't want to talk about the Haitian Revolution. We won't talk about Palmeiras in Brazil, which was an independent African state that lasted almost 100 years against the Portuguese. We're not going to talk about the change in requirements of industrial capitalism in that period, which Eric Williams outlined so well in his classic work, Capitalism and Slavery. We're just going to rewrite the history and say, and this happened to me. I went to school as a kid. I wasn't lying about it. When I said in my Fire in the Booth about my school teacher, we went to the National Portrait Gallery, and there was a picture of William Wilberforce. And my teacher, she called me aside of all the kids in the class. Now, I was the kid who was a bit controversial, who went to the Pan-African Saturday School, who had a big mouth and an opinion, right? And she called me and she said, this guy, Kingsley, he stopped slavery. And I said, miss, you mean he helped, he contributed? Because even at that age, I was aware that people didn't just say, I'm going to wait for some guy to come and save me.
How old were you, 12, 10?
I was 7.
7, okay.
7, I was in year 4. And she went, no, he stopped slavery. And she actually got angry with me. And this has stuck with me my whole life, that she was, could she have been that unintelligent that she thought one individual stopped this, what in its own time would have been this multi-billion-dollar industry? Or was she trying to impose on me a particular ideal without even realizing it? I think it's the latter. And so what I'm saying is that the rewriting of history is very powerful because even very recent history, can be rewritten very quickly and people forget. Here in the UK, there were riots all up and down the country in the 80s. Every time the Tottenham riots, for example, get mentioned on the news, the ones in 85, they mention the police officer that was killed. Yet they don't mention the grandmother who was killed. Right? The police enter the house of Cynthia Jarrett looking for her son, Floyd Jarrett, and Cynthia Jarrett ends up dead. Now, every time it's mentioned on the news, they mention PC Blakelock, but they don't mention Cynthia Jarrett. This is a way of rewriting history by omission. When they talk about the Brixton riots, which occurred in the same period of time, they do not talk about Sherry Gross getting shot in the back by the police and paralyzed, another grandmother, right? So it's a way of just saying, well, there were riots. It was just crazy people burning stuff for no reason, right? And the root of the frustration, not to mention what was going on in the society generally at the time, but the particular sparks are not included. And so you get rewriting by omission. And that's the 80s, and that's right here in London.
Does that stuff make you angry?
Yeah, but I understand it. It does make me angry, and it used to make me very angry.
Okay.
Now it's more a reserved pissed offness. Like in the sense that I expect it, it's predictable, it's boring. I almost get shocked when I see something that's alternative or a bit truthful. I'm like, what? Huh? Every so often a program comes on the telly and it leaves me scratching my head because it's so honest. But it doesn't happen very often. But I expect it, I understand it. It's part of the structure of power.
And to watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to londonrealacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonrealacademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.